Part 43. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 421. Business Alliance Base, Emergency Meeting. *w.simon.law. The grown man stood in his 30s. On the conference table, King Shang was like a javelin, sitting upright with a solemn expression. On the left and right, Jian Wuhan and Yuqiang Bioxu were sitting respectively. These two kings were considered to have joined. Although they were not vice presidents, their status was far beyond. The two vice presidents were sitting behind them. "Old Lu, are you clear?" the Merchant Alliance asked in a deep voice. Vice President Lu Qing said, "Well, the spies said that Yeshen's thief is very special. He can steal equipment on the ground. Because of this, there are so many special effects warriors in their throne." The thief stole the equipment on the ground. The senior officials were in an uproar. They had never heard of such a thing before. It seems like it's another special skill. This night god has all kinds of weird tricks. The Merchant Alliance snorted angrily. Ye Chen used a special method. He had no choice but to look at Jian Wuhan. "Wuhan, it's time to sacrifice your divine weapon to target Ye Shen and make him fearful. He wouldn't be so arrogant." Artifact. That's right, Jian Wuhan has long owned an artifact. Decay Great Sword, artifact. Level 60. Attack power 3001 Strength add 920. Physical strength add 1200. Intelligence add 600. Spirit add 400. Agility add 300. Fire, light, ice, and dark attribute resistance add 500. Hard add 900. The additional skill All Things Decay is instantaneous, causing enemies within a 30-yard radius to age, reducing all attributes by 90%, and lasts for 3 seconds. Cooling time 300 seconds. Note, this item is not tradable. A level 60 artifact with a high basic level that defies the sky. An ordinary level 60 purple sword has an attack power increased by 600, while an artifact increases by 3000. The difference is evident. There is also an instant skill All Things Decline, which weakens all enemies within 30 yards by 90%, which is unimaginable. The duration is 3 seconds. Within these 3 seconds, Jian Wuhan can kill whoever he wants. With this artifact, who does Jian Wuhan need to fear? Even if he encounters the fire dragon, he will probably be killed with one knife. The artifact is so terrifying. Jian Wuhan took out the withered great sword. This divine sword is a level 60 equipment. He cannot equip it yet, but this does not prevent him from holding it in his hand and playing with it. I saw that the sword was completely withered and yellow, and the sword was covered with mysterious and complex black lines. It had no sharpness, but it had a strange flavor that made people sink into it and not notice the passage of time. This withered sword, Jian Wuhan, has actually been around for a long time. At the time of the Yuan Dan event, Yuan Dan monsters were refreshed for 7 days, ranging from ordinary monsters to mythical beasts. Yuan Dan has no means of attack and cannot move. Even if it is a mythical beast Yuan Dan, this is the case. King Shang knew the importance of this event and directly dispatched 100,000 troops. Even the peripheral players of the Merchant Alliance were dispatched to guard the entire neutral camp's wild area. Finally, on the 4th day of the event, they discovered the mythical beast Yuan Egg in a wild area of the neutral camp's LV6 main city. Then, it took 3 days and 3 nights to finally kill the divine beast Yuan Dan. Then this great withered sword exploded. As soon as the great sword was born, it shone with endless rays of light. Don't even move. At that time, King Shang's eyes were red with excitement. After 3 days and 3 nights, he finally gained something. You must know that the artifact is bound as soon as you pick it up. If the blind peripheral player ran over and picked it up, he, the Shang King, would probably jump off the building in a hurry. Fortunately, he usually has enough prestige, and even if all his subordinates stare at the artifact with red eyes, they don't dare to pick it up. King Shang, Jian Wuhan, and others breathed a sigh of relief. They ran over and took a look. It was the withered sword. Jian Wuhan picked it up easily. I am now level 56. If I upgrade with all my strength, it will take a week to reach level 60. Jian Wuhan stretched out his hand to caress the withered sword and said softly. Then wait a week. You upgrade with all your strength. You don't have to participate in the task of guarding the base, King Shang said without any doubt. Jian Wuhan just nodded slightly. Now it was the special effects warrior version, and the throne was obviously more powerful. If more than 100 special effects warriors attack, their business alliance will suffer, and the guarding base will obviously lose its level. As the ace of the merchant alliance, Jian Wuhan was always a bit of a charlatan if he did not participate in guarding the base. But, it's all about holding the artifact in hand. When the time comes, he will naturally find a way to make up for it. Jian Wuhan is extremely confident. If he holds the withered sword, why should he take Ye Shen seriously? Boss, these 7 days have been difficult. Why don't you call Lan Yan and the others over to resist the throne together? Yi Qian asked with blood flowing. King Shang nodded. Well, it's time. The Merchant Alliance is the leader in the Chinese war zone. This is only a superficial force. In fact, their Merchant Alliance has branches in the 2 camps of Light and Darkness. The Light Camp, the Hall of Fame, has been destroyed by the predecessor of the throne, the God Killer Alliance. The Dark Camp is the King's Guild composed of Lan Yan, Taishan, Guitu, and others. Lan Yan, Taishan, Guitu, and others are all professional esports players, and in reality they belong to the club above. They played the game just for fun, but in the end, they focused on the international championship. The same goes for a sword that leaves no trace and a shot that shoots blood. And the 2 clubs above them, Shang Wang is the boss, that is, the largest shareholder. This also explains why Jian Wuhan and Yuqiang Bioxu occasionally call Shang Wang boss. Because Shang Wang is their boss. Of course, Shang Wang was also a professional esports player in his early years. After the age of 26, his brain speed and hand speed gradually couldn't catch up with young people, so he retired and became a big boss. Who knew that dream world was coming? There is no need for 2 extreme brain speed and hand speed. For Shang Wang, it is simply a second spring. National level esports member, honorary captain of the team, and even the boss of the club, Shang Wang has experienced it all. For him, there is nothing in the game field that can stop him. The official has not determined the time for the preliminary round of the International Championship. Those guys are just getting by every day and don't train seriously. This time, killing a night god can rub their spirit. Shang Wang smiled. Once talking about esports, Shang Wang's face was full of smiles. He looked at Jian Wuhan, Lan Yan, and other young people, as if he saw himself in the past. Hey, boss, Ye Shen is really capable, don't you plan to spend money to sign him? Yuqiang Bioxu laughed jokingly. Money? Tisk tisk, that kid's throne is doing well, and he will be rich in the future. Shang Wang snorted. Besides, this kid always goes against me, how can I let him go? When we target him, his account will probably be destroyed. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 422. The next morning. W.sim.law. Ye Chen led the members of the throne and attacked the Merchant Alliance base again. But they found that there was another base next to the Merchant Alliance base on that small island. Roar. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow Diamond Suit. Diamond Suit. The war cry broke into the sky, and the 2 parties rushed out from their respective bases under the leadership of the Merchant King and Lan Yan. The Merchant Alliance has a large number of people and 40,000 members. The King's Guild is newly emerging, focusing on elite strength, and has only 10,000 members. But the two sides together have 50,000 people. On the other hand, the throne has only 20,000 people. Hey, why are they wearing the same pants? Big Fried Chicken asked in astonishment. Tank and others were also confused and could not figure out the situation. Only Ye Chen looked indifferent. After all, he had experience in his previous life and naturally knew the secret. It's obvious that they have formed an alliance, just like our throne and the demon army. Do you still remember the Hall of Fame? Ye Chen smiled and said, in fact, the Hall of Fame is just a branch of the Merchant Alliance. Maybe the King's Guild is also a branch of the Merchant Alliance. The neutral camp can form an alliance at will, both the light and dark camps have branches. Think about it carefully, how big a chess game is the Merchant Alliance playing? Yes, it's not just the neutral camp, the Merchant Alliance wants to dominate the entire Chinese war zone. Tank and others turned their minds around, and trembled with fear, but couldn't help laughing. It's a pity that the Hall of Fame has been destroyed by us. Now it's the special effect warrior version, we are still strong, the Merchant Alliance. The king? Still destroyed. Everyone screamed, still destroyed. The war is about to break out. The throne is still strong, hundreds of special effect warriors are attacking wildly, and 10 healing masters are treating them in a targeted manner. On both sides, there are gunners firing bombs. The smell of gunpowder from the war fills the entire battlefield. At the end of the day, the Merchant Alliance and the King's Guild destroyed a total of 6 bases. From this, we can see that after the king joined, the advancement speed of the throne slowed down a lot. In the evening, after dinner, all members of the throne took their positions and quickly entered the post-war supply stage. In fact, that is, the extreme special effect warriors led the team to level up. A week passed in a flash. The throne has been expanded. The LV-23 guild has 23,000 members. The average level has not increased much due to the consumption of the war, only level 58. But the number of special effect warriors doubled, vaguely reaching 250 people, including nearly 150 extreme special effect warriors. On the other hand, the Merchant Alliance and the King's Guild, as the number of special effect warriors on the throne side increased, they were getting more and more difficult to fight, suffered heavy losses, and destroyed a total of more than 50 bases. Among them, 1/3 of the intermediate bases. Although the Shangwang has no shortage of money, if the base is destroyed, it is destroyed, and he can spend money to rebuild it, but they only have the last few bases left in the whole Zhihaixia. If they are destroyed again, Zhihaixia will have no place to stand. This is very critical. If the base of the Shang League or the King's Guild is destroyed, the throne will definitely build a base to occupy it. This is not negotiable. Even if the Shang League and the King's Guild are allies, they are still weak. They dare not counterattack. If this continues, they will be unable to move forward in Zhihaixia and become a second-rate guild. Wuhan hasn't reached level 60 yet. If this continues, we can't survive in Zhihaixia. The battle started again. Seeing the throne's army attacking again, especially those special effect warriors began to attack and sweep again, the Shangwang's heart couldn't help but twitch, and he shouted hurriedly. After the voice fell, everyone in the Shang League and the King's Guild was extremely nervous. If Jian Wuhan didn't come, they could only hold out for 10 minutes at most. 10 minutes later, the two bases exploded again. Clang! Suddenly, a heavy chant broke through the sky, coming from far away. Jian Wuhan spread his wings and flew out of the base, holding a withered sword in his hand, standing calmly in the air, like a god. Here I am, finally here. After despair, hope came again, making everyone in the Merchant Alliance roar with excitement. Almost everyone in the Merchant Alliance knew that Jian Wuhan had a magic weapon. A magic weapon, and Jian Wuhan was using it, So this couldn't turn the tables? Even the king of Shang had a touch of joy in his eyes. All things withered. Jian Wuhan didn't say a word of nonsense, and moved directly, sweeping the sword across, creating a layer of withered yellow light waves. The light waves spread 30 yards, and the green grass turned yellow wherever it passed, and the lush giant trees fell leaves and turned into dead trees in the blink of an eye. The time storm seemed to bring the enemy into the next reincarnation. Tank and many other special effect warriors looked old, their temples were gray, and even their bodies were hunched. In the blink of an eye, Tank and others turned from arrogant teenagers to dying old men. What does it mean that all attributes are reduced by 90%? HP, strength, speed, and defense are all reduced, leaving only the last tenth. They quickly aged and could hardly run. What skill is this? The 30-yard range is not big or small, and it weakened the 50 special effect warriors such as Tank who rushed to the front. There are still a large number of people on the throne side who are in normal condition, but they can't help but gasp when they look at the appearance of Tank and others. It's been a week since Jian Wuhan participated in the battle. He came now. What did he do before? Is it just to get the skill? Everyone, pay attention to the big sword in Jian Wuhan's hand. It is yellow and withered, but when you look at it, there seems to be a strange smell that makes people deeply trapped in it. This sword is probably not an ordinary weapon. Well, now that you mention it, maybe his perverted skill is the additional skill of the big sword. The throne party whispered. Jian Wuhan was already strong, and now he suddenly became even stronger, which made everyone feel a chill in their hearts. Ye Chen has been standing in the back. He was commanding the team to fight, so he did not rush to the front line. At this moment, seeing the big sword in Jian Wuhan's hand, his eyes condensed, as if he thought of something, hurriedly opened the national equipment ranking list. Number 1, Withered Big Sword, 60 level artifact, owned by Jian Wuhan. It is indeed an artifact. Ye Chen's pupils shrank deeply. He always felt that the withered big sword was extraordinary. Even if it was a holy weapon, it didn't have that feeling. It was indeed an artifact at first glance. Level 60 artifact? Doesn't it only drop when you kill a divine beast? Did Jian Wuhan kill a divine beast? That shouldn't be the case. If there was a divine beast, we should have received the news long ago. Xiaoro frowned and asked. Ye Chen shook his head. No, you forgot about the UN egg event. Huh. Xiaoro was startled, and then reacted instantly. Without saying anything more, she locked her eyes on Tank and other special effect warriors. At this time, Tank and others had been weakened to the extreme, and the enemy killed them all in one wave of concentrated fire. Xiaoro and other healing masters were stunned, and they could not keep up with the enemy's output at all. 015. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 423. Instant slash. Jian Wuhan ran as fast as lightning, killing one person with one blow, and his afterimage was all over the battlefield. WW Sim Law. Quick, ban the instant slash first. The special effects warriors who rushed to the front line shouted. After such a period of time, there were not only Li Amang but 6 holy word mages in the throne. The next moment, Jian Wuhan's instant slash was banned, along with more than 10 skills such as flying and flaming slash. Jian Wuhan was the king after all, and he was holding a great sword of unknown quality in his hand, which made everyone in the throne dare not neglect it at all. However, even though Jian Wuhan lost more than a dozen skills at once, his speed was still very fast. Swoosh! The strong wind surged, and Jian Wuhan ran wildly in front of a barbarian bull warrior with a withered great sword in his hand, and swept out a sword in a plain way. The attack speed of that sword was not fast, but when Jian Wilhan used it, it had a taste of crushing, withering and rotten. In a trance, a cut had been made on the body of the bull warrior, minus 32,000. Huge damage emerged, and there was even a dark element left on the wound on the bull warrior's chest. This fully proved that Jian Wilhan was a dark attribute attack. The withered greatsword itself had no attribute attack, but this did not prevent Jian Wilhan from hitting it with a dark attribute magic crystal. The bull warrior groaned and fell to the ground. He was not a blood cow, and his HP could not withstand such a heavy blow, and he was killed instantly. After easily killing one person in a second, Jian Wilhan turned around and ran towards the others, all of whom were killed in a single blow, with at least more than 30,000 damage. Occasionally, when hitting a fragile body like the Fire Dragon Warrior, it would actually cause more than 40,000 damage. The damage is too high. To be precise, his base is too high. The artifact Withered Greatsword, with an attack power of 3,135/20, plus nearly 1,000 points of strength, provides Jian Wilhan with a total of 4,000 points of base. Jian Wilhan has 2,000 basic points, so his basic point is about 6,000 points. The reason why his normal attack can deal 30,000 to 40,000 damage can be inferred that his dark power is more than 700 points. 6,000 * 7 = 42,000, if the enemy's defense is not taken into account, his normal attack damage is about the same. On the other hand, Ye Chen has only more than 2,000 basic points and his fire power is more than 700. The limit damage of normal attack is also 15,000, because Xiao He has more than 30,000. In other words, Jian Wilhan's current damage is higher than Ye Chen plus Xiao He. From this, it can be seen that the importance of the foundation. Physical attack power and strength, or magic attack power and intelligence, this is the first foundation. Attribute enhancement is the second foundation. On top of these foundations, there is also the percentage of skills. All 3 points are important, but which one is the most important? Obviously the first foundation, because the latter two, namely attribute enhancement and skill percentage, are based on the first foundation. When Ye Chen was in the Hell suit, his base damage was over 40,000, and the ultimate damage of his final move was over 10 million, you can imagine how terrifying it was. But that was a BG after all, and it has been harmonized. Now Jian Wilhan is leading the way with his artifact. Damn, Jian Wilhan's damage is too high, with a normal attack of 30,000 to 40,000, which is even more abnormal than our boss Ye Chen. Could it be that his sword is an artifact? Seeing Jian Wilhan killing everyone couldn't help but exclaimed. Yes, this is an artifact, the Merchant Alliance said proudly. Hearing this, the Throne's people trembled in their hearts. Is it really a magic weapon? The game has only been launched for more than 3 months, and there is already a magic weapon? Even though they were shocked, everyone continued to focus their fire on Jian Wilhan, trying to kill him instantly. Countless fire dragons, arrow rain, and horizontal holy light slashes whistled in, but Jian Wilhan just gently blocked with his sword, and a muffled clang sound came. Under the bombardment, Jian Wilhan did not move. The withered greatsword also increases 900 points of stiffness. You know, the ultimate steel warrior of the tank, Black Hardening, only increases more than 1,200 points of stiffness per set. But his weapon increases 900 points. 900 points of stiffness. At this stage, it is also a subdominant body, cannot be stiff, cannot be knocked back, knocked away, or knocked down. In addition, the withered greatsword has 500 points of resistance to fire, ice, light, and darkness. This makes it impossible for everyone to attack him. Inflict much damage. Damn, it can't be killed. It seems to be a divine weapon. Jian Wilhan is a monster now. Under the concentrated fire, Jian Wilhan blocked if he could, and resisted if he couldn't. He swept all the way and killed various special effect warriors in seconds, which greatly reduced the firepower of the throne. You know, the throne has only more than 20,000 people. It is weak in terms of numbers. It relies on more than 200 special effect warriors to hold the field. Now most of the special effect warriors are killed by Jian Wuhan in seconds, and the so-called advantage is gone. Xiaoro and other healing masters have unlimited healing methods, but they can't use them. Jian Wuhan is killed in seconds, and there is no time for healing. The battle lasted for several minutes. Even with the support of steel cannons, the throne gradually showed its defeat. After all, this is the home court of the Merchant Alliance and the King's Guild. The opponent's base is here, and those who die can be resurrected and fight again immediately. The throne is not the same. If you die, you will go back home. Ye Shen, it's your turn. Jian Wuhan laughed long and locked his eyes on Ye Chen. Jian Wuhan held a withered sword, and his equipment was brand new. His HP was probably more than 50,000 points. With his fighting spirit and his own defense, even steel cannons and magic crystal bombs could not do anything to him. In a few minutes, he basically killed all the special effect warriors on the throne side, and finally faced Ye Chen. Facing Jian Wuhan's sharp eyes, Ye Chen was not afraid at all, but felt eager to try. A strong man in the holy domain like Fire Dragon has a natural suppression of level and attributes, and Ye Chen might be a little afraid. But Jian Wuhan only relies on the artifact. Yes, the artifact is indeed very strong, but his own strong attack can break it. I want to see what your expression will be after the artifact is broken. Ye Chen smiled secretly, his feet surged wildly, and he rushed towards Jian Wuhan like a gust of wind. The two of them, finally faced each other. At this moment, the senior leaders of the Chamber of Commerce and the throne were staring at the two. There is no doubt that the two are too strong. They have the ability to change the entire battle situation. No matter who wins or loses, the battle situation will be tilted accordingly. Normally speaking, the Merchant Alliance has been forced into a corner in Zhihaixia, and they should be more nervous. However, the eyes of the Merchant King and Yi Gun Biao Shui are full of confidence. Just kidding, Jian Wuhan is the trump card of the Merchant Alliance, and he is also the existence at the top of the pyramid in the gaming field. Now he has a divine weapon, so what is there to be afraid of? All things wither. Jian Wuhan took the lead, and the big sword swept out, stirring up a layer of withered yellow light waves. Wherever he passed, the grass withered, the leaves fell, and the enemies became old at a speed visible to the naked eye. This of course includes Ye Chen, who became gray-haired, hunched, and even his forward speed suddenly decreased several times. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 424. Look, Yagami has become old, the ultimate wind warrior, and now his speed is as slow as a snail. In the distance, Shang Wang flashed a smile on his face and said with a shot of blood. W.Simon.Law. Yi Guo Bing Shui also sneered when he heard this time, Ye Shen, you have to capsize the boat for me. Earth fire. Jian Wuhan flipped his palm, and black flames appeared under the feet of Ye Chen and others. Although it was flame, it was a dark attribute attack. Although Ye Chen also had several hundred points of dark resistance, it was weakened by 90%, leaving only a pitiful 2 to 30 points. You know, Jian Wuhan has more than 700 points of dark strength. He can break Ye Chen's dark resistance and fighting spirit in an instant, and deal more than 80,000 damage. Ye Chen's HP was also weakened by 90%, leaving less than 2,000 points. After suffering such huge damage, his blood volume immediately returned to zero and he fell to the ground dead. Even Ye Chen was instantly killed, and everyone within the 30-yard range was instantly killed. Some master healers and silent mages also died tragically. At this point, in this battle, the special effects warriors of Throne were almost completely wiped out. Haha, okay, King Shang smiled cheerfully. Now that Ye Chen has been killed, King Shang also knows that Ye Chen has another passive resurrection, but so what? After resurrection, with only 20% health, Jian Wuhan could still kill him instantly with one sword. At this moment, Jian Wuhan was making many calculations in his mind. He vaguely knew that Ye Chen had a mysterious summoning object. It is invisible and possesses all of Ye Chen's attributes and skills. Last time, he also hacked Ye Chen to death, but was controlled by the mysterious summoned creature's blade storm. The last time was the last time. Now I have the withered great sword, which has 900 points of hardness. Even the blade storm can't attract me. Jian Wuhan smiled proudly as his mind was racing. But he didn't know that Ye Chen had already ordered Xiao He, since you are so stubborn, I will give you blade storm and smash your artifact with force. Powerful attack, click. With a crisp sound, Jian Wuhan's withered sword broke, breaking in half directly in the middle, and fell to the ground with a clang. The promised blade storm did not come, but the artifact broke inexplicably. Jian Wuhan's mind went blank and he was confused for a moment. Well, are you kidding? The artifact is broken. King Shang and others could not accept the facts before them, and they all stared in disbelief. Resurrection. At this moment, Ye Chen came back to life, but King Shang roared hysterically, "Gather the fire, kill him instantly." Boom. In an instant, all kinds of ultimate moves came overwhelmingly. Ye Chen smiled slightly. He had just resurrected with only 20% of his health, and he would definitely not be able to bear it. But it doesn't matter anymore, this time I broke the artifact and lost one level, it was worth it. Smoke and dust rose, and Ye Chen was finally killed instantly, leaving less than 500 remnant troops on the throne side. This time, the combined forces of the Merchant Alliance and the King's Guild won, but they were not happy at all. Wuhan, let's see what's going on. King Shang strode over, staring at Jian Wuhan with his broken sword in his hand, his expression extremely serious. You know, the reason why they defended the base this time was entirely because Jian Wuhan used an artifact to kill the throne's special effects warrior. Now that the artifact is broken, how will they protect it in the future? When he thought that the Shang Alliance would be forced out of Zhaihesia, or even the entire guild would be wiped out, King Shang felt a twitch in his heart. Why? Jian Wuhan's face looked full of resentment and sorrow, he cut off his hand and raised the sword. Broken decayed great sword, semi-artifact. Level 60. Attack power 1500 1721. Strength add 450. Physical strength add 600. Intelligence add 300. Spirit add 200. Agility add 150. Fire, light, ice, and dark attribute resistance add 200. Hard add 500. Additional skill all things decay, seal. Note, this item is not tradable. After all, an artifact is an artifact. Even if it is broken in half, it does not really die and becomes a semi-artifact. The foundation of the semi-artifact is also very high, surpassing the same level of holy weapons, but the additional skills are sealed. In other words, Jian Wuhan cannot use the decay of all things. There is no other way. I can't stop the throne army with just this broken sword. Jian Wuhan smiled bitterly. The decay of all things is so powerful. It can kill many special effects warriors in a group at once, and teammates can kill them instantly with a concentrated fire. But without this skill, it's another story. Hey, I really didn't expect Ye Chen to have the abnormal skill of destroying equipment, and he can also destroy artifacts. The senior officials also smiled bitterly. They knew in their hearts that Zhaihesia could no longer be defended. Maybe this broken sword can be restored and recast. King Shang sighed. Even if it can be recast, it is not something that ordinary blacksmiths can do. Now I have no clue. It is definitely not a task that can be completed in a day or two. Zhixia, they really can't hold on anymore. On the other side, the throne base. Jian Wuhan's artifact has been destroyed by me, and it's just begun now. At the conference table, Ye Chen smiled at the senior officials and said, 2 tasks. First, drive the Merchant Alliance and the King's Guild out of Zhixia. Second, blow up all the bases and directly destroy their guilds. Take action. Clear. The short meeting ended amidst the excited roars of the senior officials, and then the army attacked again. 1 day passed, and all the bases of the Merchant Alliance and the King's Guild in Zhixia were destroyed. The spies came with news. The Shang King spent 8 million to purchase a piece of land in the main city of the neutral camp. The Merchant Alliance and the King each built a base. Tank came the news and exclaimed, "Grandma, it's 8 million. This Shang King is really rich. The base of the main city? Then there is nothing we can do. We don't dare to enter the main city to cause trouble." Shang Wang's 8 million yuan was well spent. At least the guild can save it. All the senior officials laughed one after another and drove the Merchant Alliance and the King's Guild out of Zhixia. That was enough. Ye Chen smiled slightly, but his eyes were fixed. What about the main city? Aren't they just a few Holy Realm NPCs? I don't dare to charge now, but sooner or later I will kill him, then not only will the guild be annihilated, but the main city will also be captured. Capture the enemy's main city. This kind of thing had never happened to Zhexian in his previous life, but in this life, Ye Chen was quite interested and confident. Boss Ye Chen, our throne occupies 80% of the islands in Zhixia, and the remaining 20% is occupied by the demon army and demon gods. How about we take it all in one go? At the throne base, Ye Chen sat at the head of the conference table, with various high-level officials on the left and right. Xinjiao in the back row reported the current situation and made suggestions with a smile on his face. Ye Chen waved his hand, "Just kill the demon god. The demon army can't move. We are an alliance after all. If we move, no one will gossip and say that I am ruthless and will forget about my old friend after I become strong and powerful." Haha. There was a roar of laughter in the conference room. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 425. Demon Army Base. W.Simon.Law. President, the throne has driven away the Merchant Alliance and the King's Guild. They occupy 80% of the entire Zhixia territory. In the end, only us and the Demon God Guild are left. I'm afraid they will attack us next. Vice President the Long Black Dragon looked serious. Hearing this, all the senior officials were also stunned. Once upon a time, there was no distinction between the throne and the demon army, and the two sides needed an alliance to fight against the powerful Merchant Alliance. How long has it been? Throne has actually taken over the Merchant Alliance alone? Yao Geng had a gloomy look on his face. For such a long time since the game started, he and Ye Chen had been evenly matched, and it was difficult to tell the difference. At this stage, the two sides stayed for a long time, but now Ye Chen suddenly rises up, does what he says to be the king, and does what he says to destroy the business alliance. It has to be said, and the demon himself has to admit that Ye Chen quietly threw him far away. This made him particularly unwilling. One version creates a god, and the special effects warrior version will eventually pass. Before that, we still need to be patient. The strong must endure loneliness. Yao Leng snorted, in the current situation, the throne, the demon army is still an alliance. If Ye Chen breaks this relationship, I have nothing to say. I will just withdraw from Zhixia. At most, I can follow suit and buy it in the main city a piece of land. In short, the guild cannot be dispersed, and the hearts of the people cannot be dispersed. Yes, with the alliance, Yeshen may not necessarily deal with us, Ao Wushuan said with a complicated expression. He thought that when he was still working in the Hall of Fame, he looked down on Yeshen, but he did not expect that Yeshen has now reached a level where he can only look up to him. It would be best if that's the case. If we quit Zhihixia, there's no telling what ugly words the old men at the club will say. The senior officials also nodded in agreement, and while breathing a sigh of relief in their hearts, they couldn't help but mourn for the Demon God Guild. At night, Yechen still led a large group to clear dungeons and continued to train special effects warriors. After finishing the work, the special effects warriors led a group to support Hixia's crazy leveling up. Combined with the first and second phases of Zhihixia, Throne has occupied a total of 80 islands. Everyone can use their hands and feet to upgrade quickly. The best resources, experience, and the most generous profits are all available. The next day, Yechen personally led a group to kill the base occupied by the Demon God Guild. Brother Yagamai, if you have something to say, let's talk it over. There is no direct hatred or conflict of interest between us. One more friend and more avenues, why do you have to make things difficult for us? Zhou Tiantian, the president of the Demon God Guild, smiled bitterly and begged for mercy. What's more, your throne has occupied 80 islands in Zhihixia, and the resources are overflowing. Why are you staring at our small islands? Yes, Boss Yeshen, there are 80 islands, enough to accommodate 40,000 people to level up. What's more, there is still a third stage of Zhihixia, and your throne can also be opened up. Why do you insist on our few little ones? Where is the island? There is no need at all. I think we can sit down and talk slowly and make friends. Right hand Hell also had a submissive smile on his face. He. The two presidents of the Gods and Demons Guild were so humble, which immediately satisfied the vanity of Tank, Big Fried Chicken and others. Everyone was laughing. Although Heaven and Hell are talking about Yuchen, Yuchen is their president, their boss, and represents them. Talking about Yechen is equivalent to talking about them, which makes them feel very proud. The Demon God Guild, the second in command in the Chinese war zone, now faced with me, didn't even dare to speak loudly. Yechen also smiled, but didn't answer. He didn't care whether his resources were overflowing or not, he had to occupy it first. You, the devil, are from the dark camp, and our throne is from the light camp. We are naturally opposed to each other and can be nothing but friends. Damn it, who are you demon gods? You have the nerve to be friends with us. Seeing Yechen smiling and not saying anything, Big Fried Chicken immediately became happy and laughed wildly and cursed. That's right. Even the Merchant Alliance is suppressed by me, so who do you think you are? Xinjiao lost his temper and fired a shot into the sky, cursing. The two of them were so strong, everyone in the throne room felt secretly happy, and many people even laughed out loud. You, bully others too much. Heaven and Hell seemed to be angry, and all the members of the demon god's eyes were red with anger. I really bullied you, why? To tell you the truth, not only Zhihixia, I will also rush into the dark camp and uproot you demon gods. Tank raised his shield and said loudly, if you have a bird under your crotch, then come and fight with us. If you don't, then just follow the example of King Shang and just spend millions to buy a piece of land in the main city. Ha ha. There was a roar of laughter. Next, there was another big battle. But the throne is now powerful enough to defeat the Merchant Alliance, and the Demon God Guild is no match at all. Within a few minutes of the battle starting, they were completely defeated. The throne destroyed the Demon God's base with almost no effort. In the next half hour, Yechen led the group to continue to attack other bases in Zhihixia where the Demon God Guild was located. They actually stopped defending, it was even easier to fight on the throne. Boss Yechen, we have received news from the spies that the Demon God Guild has purchased land in the main city of the Dark Camp. Haha. Except for the 10 islands of the Demon Army, the entire Zhihixia is our territory. Everyone was overjoyed and couldn't wait to drink and talk. In the next 2 days, Throne Party still leveled up step by step. After all, we have huge resources that cannot be wasted. The Special Effects Warrior version will eventually pass. After all, the equipment of the Special Effects Warriors is only level 50-55, and most of them are purple. In the later stages, when the main force of players reaches level 70 or above, the power of Special Effects Warriors will naturally decrease. If further on, the main force of players reaches level 80 or above, all Special Effects Warriors will inevitably be eliminated. Except for Ye Chen, who has forging skills, the other Special Effects Warriors can't survive at all. So, of course, take advantage of it while the advantage is still there. At the same time, Aishin.c during these 2 quiet days, the news that the throne occupied the entire Hyhaxia spread like wildfire, causing shock throughout the country. Light, dark, neutral, no matter which camp they are in, players can't help but chat a few words when they are on the way to upgrade. Hey, have you heard? Hyhaxia, all the thrones have been occupied. Which throne has such a guild? Tisk tisk, you don't even know about the throne? You should know about Ye Chen, right? It's his guild. They actually defeated the Merchant Alliance. Do you think it's scary or not? Horrible. Now it is the Special Effects Warrior version. I don't know what means Ye Chen used to make hundreds of people in the guild become Special Effects Warriors. Do you think it is strong or not? Strong. A certain newbie who was passing by was so frightened that he just nodded silently. 015. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 426. It was 11 o'clock that night, that is, the night of February 14th. WW Sim La. Ye Chen and Huo Wu went to island number 5, which is Fire Lion Island. Brothers, you have worked hard during this period. After midnight, I will be promoted to a senior preacher. Huo Wu also walked to the side of the believers. Ye Chen smiled and thanked sincerely. Fire Energy Absorber, Special Item. Level 1. 9752010//1000000000. Speaking, Ye Chen subconsciously touched a handful of earrings. A total of 100 million fire energy was required. He had already stored 97.5 million fire energy. In fact, it was enough now, but the believers' daily tasks had not been submitted. Automatically submitted in the early morning, at that time, Ye Chen would be promoted smoothly. It should be Monkey and others smiled. 21 days, a full 21 days, they brushed the same monster and were about to vomit, but they finally made it. Seeing Ye Chen's sincere thanks, the believers smiled. It was worth it to have such a president. Haha, good. Ye Chen smiled, chatted, and brushed the fire lion on the spot until the early morning. The system recovered a total of 510,9000 fire energy through the daily tasks issued to believers. System, your fire energy exceeds 100 million, promoted to Senior Preacher of Oz. System, congratulations on your promotion to Senior Preacher of Oz. The Intermediate Preacher's promotion attribute is cancelled, and the following attribute upgrades are obtained: add 1000 fire strength, add 3000 fire resistance, skill flame armor *1. The daily tasks that the upper god Oz of the system has given you have changed, and you need to hand in 10,000 fire energy every day. Flame armor, LV1 / special skill, instant, defense add 10%, duration 60 seconds, cooldown time 60 seconds. Note that this skill can be upgraded. Night God, ID. Race Human. Profession Assassin. Title Good Man, Perceiver, Hidden Weapon Master, Source of Evil, Thief. Level 66. HP 32100 ///32100. MP 11230 ///11230. Strength 2425. Agility 940. Asterisk Physical Attack 30-10-32-19. Asterisk Fire Attribute Enhancement 1992. Asterisk Fire Attribute Resistance 4920. Recognition 1798. Asterisk Perception 2. Attack Speed add 240%. Movement Speed add 256%. Skills LV18 Stun, LV19 Stab, LV23 Thief, LV16 Unlock, Stealth, Sprint, LV18 Throat Slitting, LV19 Bleeding, LV16 Wind Step, LV13 Spinning Stab, LV15 Remove Trap. Rare Skills LV17 Bleeding Note, LV21 Hidden Weapon Mastery, LV15 Shadow Attack, LV14 Stun Dart, Shadow Escape, LV13 Boomerang, Blood Blade, Shadow Thorn, Flying Thunder God, Strong Hidden, LV27 Starkill, LV3000 Needle Slaughter. Equipment Additional Skills Kindness Aura, Poison Mist, War Cry, Flying, LV2 Fighting Spirit. Special Skills LV10 Poisoning, LV26 Forging, Blood Eyes, LV15 Breaking Martial Arts, LV11 Advanced Dart Production Drawing, LV100 Strong Attack, Team Teleport, Self-Recovery, Resurrection, Hand of Hell, LV9 Fire Hymn, LV1 Fire Armor. Assassin Skill Tree Final Blow, LV12 Murderous Aura, LV9 Killing Mark. Talent Firm Wool, Passive. Hiss. Ye Chen glanced at the attribute panel and was shocked. The paralysis was too scary. As the level increased, the feedback power of the blood tree became more and more powerful, and all attributes increased by 66%. Physical attack power 3000 plus, fire strength 1992, if Xiao He is included, Ye Chen's normal attack exceeds 110,000. You should know that this is not some equipment BG, but real effective damage. Looking at the entire Chinese war zone, who dares to compete with it? The fire dragon is also a high-level preacher, and his fire resistance must be above 3000. In this way, my fire strength will be completely offset, and the base will at least drop by 10 times, leaving only 300 points. No, I can't use fire attribute weapons to fight the fire dragon. Ye Chen touched his chin and sighed to himself. As a high-level preacher of the god of fire and also a strong man in the holy domain, the fire dragon has a little light, dark, and ice in addition to his super high fire resistance. Then in terms of attack, Ye Chen must not use fire attributes, and even other attributes cannot be used. He can only use attributeless daggers. This is a pause first, and then look at defense and resistance. That fire dragon is definitely a fire type, there is no doubt about that, and Ye Chen's fire resistance is 4920 points. The fire dragon's damage to him is reduced by more than 49 times, even if the fire dragon's one-hit attack is 1 million, it can only deal more than 20,000 damage. Of course, this is based on the fire dragon's lack of fire strength, and in fact, the fire dragon's fire strength must be very high, at least more than 1000 points. But it doesn't matter, it still has to be reduced by more than 30 times. The fire dragon's damage may not reach 1 million per attack, not to mention that I have a strong attack, which can 100% destroy his weapons and equipment. Humph, fire dragon, your good days are probably over. Ye Chen's eyes condensed, surging with cold air. Before the fight, he didn't know whether he could defeat the fire dragon, but it was obvious that he was not afraid. If Xiao Hong evolved into a sacred beast and attracted the fire dragon, then go for it. What a coward. What does it mean to kill people beyond the level? He wants to cross the line and kill people. I will kill the strong men in the Holy Realm without fail. Yechen curled his lips and smiled slightly. This was not because of his inflated mentality, but because of his confidence. Now he has nothing to be afraid of and nothing to be low-key about. In the Chinese theater, throne and I have already stood at the top of the pyramid. There are no opponents or threats. HH.cm. 13 days later, that is, March 1st, the contest national competition will begin. I guess no one will be my opponent. I will definitely be the champion, so don't worry too much. Next, there will be the rhythm of killing saints and gods, and the future world battlefield. Yechen's eyes narrowed again. His goal was to be number one in the entire server. Number one in the country was not worth caring about. The world is still big. A high-level evangelist of a higher god is already at his limit. If you want to further enhance the power of faith, you must reach level 100 and become a god on your own and recruit believers. Yechen smiled slightly, and when he talked about the senior evangelist, he discovered that the daily tasks issued by us had changed again. This time there was no increase, but a reduction in demand. Only 10,000 ignition energy needs to be turned in every day. After being promoted to senior evangelist, Yechen's fire energy has been reduced by 100 million points, but he still has more than 2 million points. Even if he does not continue to use fire energy, he can slowly deduct it for more than 200 days. Don't worry. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 427. Chi. A loud phoenix cry cut through the sky, and Yechen summoned Xiao Hong after a long absence. Simon. Law. Before this, Yechen was so scared of the fire dragon that he didn't dare to summon it, resulting in its current level being only 45. There is no sign of a pet's evolution, and it is possible to evolve even if it is trapped in the pet space. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Circled M. But normally speaking, upgrading a pet can more or less promote its evolution. That's why Yechen didn't dare to summon it, but now it's okay. Instead, he is looking forward to Xiao Hong's evolution, attracting the fire dragon, and then competing with each other. Bang bang bang. After Xiao Hong came out, it immediately turned into a red sparrow. It seemed very angry, bumping into Yechen's face and pecking continuously. Good boy, good boy, good boy. Yechen didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and held the little sparrow in his hand, and then took out a bottle of milk to feed it. The little sparrow smacked its mouth and flew around Yechen, as if forgiving Yechen. Let's go, you guys go back to the main group, I'll take you to level up now. Yechen waved his hand and teleported to the base of island number 99 with everyone else. The believers have been brushing the flame lion for 21 days, and now the average level is only 51. You know, most of them are core members. This level is too low, and Yechen feels guilty, so he is ready to take them to level up, of course, Xiao Hong. In addition, even he himself wants to level up quickly, because when he levels up, the blood tree will level up. Every level up, all attributes add 1%, which is very powerful. In short, the higher his level, the more confident he will be in dealing with the fire dragon. Directly open up the third stage of Zhihai Xia. Because the 100th island is also a sea city like Iceland, there is no national lord in it, but a national copy. But the national copy is only open on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every week. Now it is not the time point, so Yechen led the fleet to directly pass the 100th island and came to the 101st island. Detection device. After landing, Yechen directly threw a detection device and nailed it on the tree trunk. Now he is a lieutenant colonel, and he receives 5 every day. He can't use them up at ordinary times, and he has accumulated a lot. Now Yechen is with 500 fire mages, and there is no thief army to explore, so he is extravagant. The next moment, With the detection device as the center of the circle, things within a radius of 1,000 yards appeared in Ye Chen's mind like a mirror. Therefore, Ye Chen instantly locked the boss on the island. "Follow me." Ye Chen waved his hand, and the monkeys shouted further, and the large army followed closely. Soon, Ye Chen led the group to the center of the forest on the island. The so-called boss turned out to be a huge purple dragonfly. Poison Dragonfly, National Lord. Level 62. HP 350000//350000. Skills, Toxic Spray, Flying, Dragon Bullet. Talented Poison. Flying. Ye Chen popped out his snake wings and flew into the sky, instantly attracting the attention of the poisonous dragonfly. Ye Chen was so fast that he could cover 100 yards in less than 3 seconds, and then he took a big step and entered the attack range of the poisonous dragonfly. Moreover, he deliberately slowed down a bit to let Xiao He go first. Toxic Spray. The poisonous dragonfly really did this and sprayed poison mist at Ye Chen. Ye Chen had expected that at this stage, the Mendy bracelet could no longer keep up with the rhythm. The little poison resistance it added was not enough to resist the poison of the poisonous dragonfly. Because of this, Ye Chen let Xiao He go ahead, and now Xiao He has gone around behind the poisonous dragonfly. Instant transfer. Whoosh. In the blink of an eye, Ye Chen has appeared behind the poisonous dragonfly, and the poisonous spray sprayed by the poisonous dragonfly has no effect on Xiao He. Nowadays, Ye Chen's strength has grown not only in attack power and damage, but in all aspects. When he saw the monster, his mind flashed, and he had a targeted tactic. Of course, all kings have this ability. Strong attack. Ye Chen rushed up and cut off a purple translucent wing of the poisonous dragonfly with a sharp dagger. The poisonous dragonfly was a little bit overwhelmed and fell down a little, but it stabilized immediately. After all, this guy has 4 wings, 2 on each side, and now one is missing, which is not a big deal. In the end, it just slowed down a little. Flying Thunder God. Xiao He threw a dart, broke through the smoke, and instantly approached the poisonous dragonfly, but no one could see it except Ye Chen. Strong attack. Xiao He followed up and cut off the last wing on the left side of the poisonous dragonfly with a dagger. This time, the poisonous dragonfly wailed and fell down uncontrollably. Sea of Fire. However, there were already 500 layers of Sea of Fire waiting for it below. 500 layers of Sea of Fire, your grandfather, extremely terrifying. Although 500 layers of Sea of Fire stacked together could not increase the height of the Sea of Fire, the color of the flame became very dark, and the floating flame became more intense. The poisonous dragonfly fell into the Sea of Fire, and a wave of fire splashed immediately, and its HP dropped by more than 30,000 in an instant. It fluttered, and its left wing was broken. It was unable to fly, and in the blink of an eye, its HP was deducted by more than 30,000. Ye Chen and Xiao He's 2 strong attacks previously had reduced the poisonous dragonfly's HP to over 1 million. Now even if you ignore it and let it flutter in the Sea of Fire, I'm afraid it will be burned alive in less than a minute. But Ye Chen was too lazy to wait, and swooped down directly, turning into a battle top in mid-air and nailing it to the poisonous dragonfly's back. After just spinning for a second, he cancelled the blade storm and directly pierced the heart with Xiao He to deal more than 1.8 million damage, killing the poisonous dragonfly instantly. National broadcast. Congratulations to the player Ye Chen for completing the first kill of the National Lord Poison Dragonfly, and received an additional reward of add 97 million experience points, 90 gold coins, and 1 skill point. The national broadcast broadcasted 3 times in a row, which naturally caused shock throughout the country. In fact, the ID of Ye Chen has already been engraved in the hearts of all players across the country. You know, except for island number 100, there are 50 islands in the second phase of Zhyhaxia. Zhashian.c The first kills of national bosses in the remaining 49 islands were all taken away by Yechen. Broadcasting professionals. This is the nickname given to Yechen by players across the country. A huge amount of experience came in, and Yechen's level 66 experience bar rushed forward one more space. Although there is no first kill reward for Xiaohong and 500 followers, Poison Dragonfly is a level 62 national lord and has very rich experience. They also benefited a lot. Especially Xiaohong, the pet upgrades quickly. It jumped one level directly to level 46. Very good, this experience is good. I suddenly increased my experience by 8%. Monkey and others beamed with joy. You know, they don't have much experience playing the Flame Lion. They just persisted for 20 days with perseverance. It has been a long time since they experienced the rocket-like feeling of upgrading with experience points. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 428. Neutral Camp Wild Area, Business Alliance Base. Simon.law. Zhixia, Yeshen has actually entered the third stage of land reclamation. King Shang's expression was extremely serious and slightly desolate. In the second stage, Yechen was almost swept away, but at that time, Yechen relied on the Hell Suits BG. King Shang had nothing to say about this. But now, the Hell Suit BG has been harmonious, and Yechen relies entirely on hard power, and he has nothing to say. Hell Suit, Special Effects Warrior, 2 consecutive versions. Yechen played too much. Searched Kan on Google. Jian Wuhan and Yi Jiang were speechless. Yechen led the throne to the third stage of land reclamation, but their business alliance now did not even dare to enter Zhixia. This gap suddenly became very large. Not long ago, Throne was just a small player in our eyes, but now it has grown to a level that we can't match. Yagami is a steady guy. In 2 consecutive versions, he has been at the forefront. One version after another, one god after another, you can't accept it? King Shang's face was filled with sadness. Boss, don't be too anxious. Versions will always be updated. After this special effects warrior reaches level 70, its power will inevitably decrease sharply. Before that, we just have to be patient, Yi Kuoxiu said with relief. What you said is simple. Now Zhixia is all occupied by the throne, and we can't even get in. King Shang said, the throne occupies all the best resources, but we can't even drink soup. Have you ever thought about how big the gap in levels will be in the future? One shot spurted blood and one was startled. Of course he knew this, but he didn't dare to think deeply. The members of the throne were farming national monsters, and their experience and profits were exploding, but they were just farming ordinary wild monsters. Maybe the future throne members are level 70, and they are only level 60. Their business alliance is at level 70, and their throne is probably at level 80. Of course, you can't see anything now, but these things tend to snowball, getting bigger and bigger. If they don't find a way to close this gap, they will never be able to turn around. I thought about it all night yesterday and temporarily came up with 3 ways to bridge the gap between our merchant alliance and the throne as soon as possible. King Shang is a relatively serious and responsible leader, and he does regard gaming as his career. Dream World has been in service for more than 4 months. Except for solving personal problems, he rarely goes offline. Last night, he was really upset. While holding his wife to relieve the pressure, he also had many thoughts. First, the artifact is still invincible. There is currently no whereabouts of other artifacts. Wuhan, you have to travel around the world and find a way to find a master-level blacksmith to recast the semi-artifact. Second, we also need steel cannons and magic crystal bombs. Biao Shui, I leave this matter to you. No matter what, we must get these 2 things. Third, it is a high-level base. If we have a high-level base, then Zhixia will regain our foothold. The vicissitudes of life of the King of Shang. There may be other methods, but they require an opportunity, and these three are the best methods now. If they complete any one of them, they will have the capital to compete with the throne. If they complete all three, they may be able to fight back. Who is this King of Shang? Never allow yourself to fall down. These three things are all nonsense. Hurry up, let's take action as soon as possible, King Shang said. Clear. Jian Wuhan, a shot of blood, nodded. On the other side, Yuchen led the believers to island number 102. Using another detection device, Yuchen instantly locked onto the island's boss, who turned out to be a strong chimpanzee. When everyone rushed over, they found that the chimpanzee was really huge, about 6 yards tall, with big arms and a round waist, and a powerful body. When it spots an enemy, its black hair instantly stands straight like steel needles. This shows that it is extremely warlike. Forest King Kong, Golden Country Lord. Level 65. HP 2300000//230000000. Skills: Brutal Collision, Hammering, Overwhelming, and Hardening of Weapons. Talent Shock Star Level 4. It's actually a sub-holy beast. 300 million HP. Among the believers, only Huowu had a higher level. With her recognition ability, she could vaguely see part of the attributes of the Forest King Kong, and she immediately exclaimed, "Well!" Everyone was also silent. The third stage has just begun, and there is a sub-holy beast? Roar! Bang 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 bang! Suddenly, the Forest King Kong hammered his chest crazily to boost his morale, then bowed down and rushed towards him like a mad dog. It plowed the ground all the way, flying sand and rocks, and pulled out a long line of earth-colored smoke behind it. Flight. Break the martial arts. Fighting. Bloody blade. At the same time, Yechen also activated his BFF and flew past like a gust of wind. Chiang. A sharp and piercing chirping sound sounded, the fire curtain flew away, and Yechen faintly shook the Forest King Kong back, causing tens of thousands of damage to his head. On the contrary, it struck with a claw, breaking through the fighting spirit defense, and further hit Yuchen's body. However, Yuchen remained motionless, and only minor damage appeared on the top of his head. With his domineering body and fighting spirit, in these 5 seconds, Yuchen's defense was already incredibly high. After the attack, sand and rocks flew, and smoke and dust rolled. The Forest King Kong leaned forward and roared fiercely, and the air waves flew. Yechen's black hair was blown upside down, and the strong noise made people's eardrums hurt. It suddenly stood up, like a giant covering the sky, and the sun. Yechen stood in front of it, but he was not even as high as its knees. Boom! The Forest King Kong changed its attack method and used its huge feet to trample on Yechen, leaving a huge and deep footprint on the ground with one foot. The dust flew and even the ground was shaking violently. Earthquake Star Level 4, it seemed to be just its passive talent. However, Yechen was in a flying state, with his feet slightly off the ground, so the earthquake was completely ineffective. He only needed to try his best to avoid the trampling of the Forest King Kong. On the other side, although Huowu and other believers felt the ground shaking and swaying, they were far away after all, and were only affected by the aftermath of the earthquake, so they didn't need to worry about it. Focus on fire, don't worry about hatred confusion, Yechen shouted. Now that his damage is so high, he doesn't worry about anyone taking away the hatred. The Forest King Kong is a sub-holy beast with 300 million HP. It takes a while for him to kill it. It will be faster with the help of believers. As soon as the voice fell. Sea of fire! Sea of fire! Sea of fire! Fire dragon breaking. Explosive flame technique. For a moment, 500 seas of fire burned in the center of the forest, violently and wantonly, even the light was illuminated a lot. At the same time, countless fire skills were also remotely directed at the Forest King Kong, and the Forest King Kong howled in the flames. Roar! Bang bang bang! Suddenly, the Forest King Kong roared again, and his hands hammered his chest again. The next moment, a layer of black luster flowed from head to toe, and it was hardened like an extreme steel warrior. 015. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 429. Armed Hardening. This skill of Forest King Kong is equivalent to the ultimate suit effect of Iron Warrior. Simon. Law. Increase defense and stiffness. For a moment, the fire damage suffered by Forest King Kong was reduced a lot. At the same time, Ye Chen attacked it again, but he could not repel it. Strong attack. Ye Chen and Xiao He attacked at the same time, hitting the left and right calves of Forest King Kong respectively. Through the black hardening, each of them cut off a piece of fur, revealing the tough muscles and blood tissue inside. But the next moment, Forest King Kong's armed hardening wrapped the injured calf again. Change clothes. Ultimate Warrior Suit. 5 seconds passed slowly, and Ye Chen's domineering body disappeared. At the same time, he changed into the Ultimate Warrior Suit, used his wings to fly around a huge Forest King Kong, and attacked crazily. Through the heart. -289,0050. The blood shot through the calf of Forest King Kong and continued to extend for more than 30 yards. The huge damage made Forest King Kong roar painfully. The strong gust of wind opened a path for the fire wave. The Ultimate Warrior had the strongest explosive power. Even though the Forest King Kong was in the process of hardening its weapons and its defense skyrocketed, Ye Chen's finishing move still reduced more than 2 million damage. If it was a Wind Warrior, Ye Chen's piercing would only cause 1 million damage at most. It can be seen how much the Ultimate Warrior boosted the assassin's finishing blow. And not only that, the Ultimate Warrior not only boosted the finishing blow, but also greatly reduced the cooling time of the pre-skill of the finishing blow. Boomerang. -72,003. -89,002. Brushing twice, while dealing damage, the combo points were accumulated again, a sure kill. Ye Chen slashed hard and cut the Forest King Kong's calf, blood spurted out like a fountain, -210,0050. One hit was successful, and at this time, the stab was cooled down again, the stab was cooled down, and the piercing was also cooled down. So, Ye Chen continued to attack to accumulate combo points, and then pierce the heart again. Keep accumulating, and kill again. In this way, Ye Chen consumed a lot of MP and dealt high burst damage one after another. The Forest King was in great pain and screamed. Tisk tisk, that's the legendary special effect warrior? He can easily deal over 1 million damage. Can this game still be fun? Oh, you don't understand, they are both special effect warriors, but our boss must be more awesome. The eyes of the believers widened, shocked. Not long ago, most of them were members of the main group, but now they are like country bumpkins entering the city, all kinds of surprises. Ye Chen also smiled slightly. Among the 4 special effect warriors, the Ultimate Warrior has the strongest burst. The Wind Warrior is the fastest. Needless to say, the Steel Warrior has the strongest defense and stiffness. And the Gyro Warrior, or the Destroyer Gyro Warrior, has the fastest killing speed, killing a group of people in 1 second, even hundreds or thousands of people can be easily killed in seconds. The damage is definitely high, but not as powerful as the Ultimate Warrior's burst. Soon a minute passed. The HP of the Forest King Kong dropped by half, and the hardened weapon also fell into cooling. Ah! The Forest King Kong howled miserably, and after taking off the weapon, it found that it was covered with wounds. Especially the two big thick legs, there were two blood holes on the skin and flesh above the calves, and blood was flowing out. The severe pain made it a little unstable, and it actually squatted down. Yechen attacked again, but found that the damage had more than doubled, which was enough to show the power of the hardened weapon. Swish, 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 Yechen attacked wildly, causing the Forest King Kong to howl miserably and his HP dropped straight. Yechen's current strength can vaguely repel the huge Forest King Kong, but it can't achieve the effect of stiffness. The Forest King Kong can counter-attack easily, but Yechen can easily change direction with his wings and dodge the attack again and again. Stable. Yechen smiled secretly, thinking that the ultimate warrior is indeed powerful. The HP of this Forest King Kong is as high as 300 million. If it doesn't have the skill of hardened weapon, I'm afraid I can kill it in 1 minute. Now, the weapon hardening has cooled down, and I can kill it in half a minute at most. Time passed by second, and the Forest King Kong felt his life slipping away at the same time. There was fear in his eyes, and he kicked his feet and flew up. Then, he smashed down heavily, stirring up endless waves of fire and smoke. This was obviously the skill of Mount Tai's pressure, but it was afraid of Yechen and did not dare to use the skill to kill him head-on, but just used it to run away. And the direction it ran away was exactly the direction of Huowu, Monkey, and other believers. Looking at the believers, the fear in the eyes of the Forest King Kong disappeared instantly, and it even excitedly and wildly beat its chest and rushed over violently. Why is the boss rushing towards us? Is he OT? Impossible, the damage of the president is here, how could he be OT? As a sub-holy beast, the Forest King Kong has a high IQ. It must have been scared by the president and fled to our side. Looking at the violent figure of the Forest King Kong crushing over, the believers gasped, their eyes full of confusion. Finally, Huowu spoke up and gave a very reliable explanation. Don't panic, add fire walls to slow it down, Huowu ordered calmly. After speaking, fire walls flashed out and piled up to block the Forest King Kong. The Forest King Kong moves very fast, running wildly with flying sand and rocks, and rolling waves of fire. However, after hitting the wall of fire, its speed is greatly slowed down. But it is very smart. Even though its speed has slowed down, it knows how to turn and leave the range of the wall of fire. But it is smart, the player is smarter. So, wherever the Forest King Kong runs, the wall of fire will appear. 500 fire mages, the wall of fire is not enough. The speed of the Forest King Kong is slowed down here, and Yechen's speed is not inferior to it. He quickly caught up and beat the Forest King Kong to death again. National broadcast. Congratulations to the player Yechen for completing the first kill of the National Gold Lord Forest King Kong, and get an additional reward of add 900 million experience, 180 gold coins, and 2 skill points. A huge amount of experience points came. www.zashian.saichen was shocked, and a white light rushed out, and he actually directly upgraded to level 67. When a player upgrades, his attributes will increase to a certain extent, but Yechen has more than that. He also has the feedback power of the blood tree, and all attributes increase by 1%. After killing the Forest King Kong, he directly upgraded to a higher level, while Xiao Hong directly upgraded to 2 levels. The upgrade speed of pets is enviable. Of course, the level of pets is at most the same as that of their owners. As for the believers such as Huowu and Monkey, after all, there are many people, and the experience points are relatively small, but each person also increases the experience points by more than 20%, which is really cool. Next, Yechen bent down and picked up the 4 diamonds dropped by the Forest King Kong. One of them is a mid-level diamond, and the other 3 are low-level diamonds. In addition to these, there are 7 gold equipment, but Yechen is not very interested. Just when he was about to look away, he was attracted by a scroll. 015. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 430. Armed Hardening. Special skill increases your defense and stiffness. The higher the level, the stronger the effect. Duration, 60 seconds, cooldown, 90 seconds. Ye Chen picked up the scroll and looked at it, and was immediately happy. Hey, I didn't expect it to explode. Special skills are not restricted to professions, which means that any profession can learn it. Ye Chen clapped his hands and learned it directly. His Iron Warriors can completely follow the level and will never be eliminated. However, this armed hardening does not conflict, the effect is superimposed. How about it, guys, are you satisfied with the experience? Ye Chen looked at Huo Wu, Monkey, and others. The believers nodded and smiled, satisfied, very satisfied. I am not satisfied. You don't have the first kill reward experience. It's a waste of time to come and go. Next, I will take you to brush the chimpanzee on this island to upgrade. Ye Chen smiled. That's great. Everyone was not polite. Ye Chen killed the boss. They didn't have the first kill reward, but only the experience of the boss itself. Although there are many, each island has only one boss. After each fight, you have to go to the next island. This is a waste of time. Compared with this, it is faster to upgrade by steadily brushing national elite monsters on the spot. Well, I will take you to brush the level 60 dungeon in a few days. The first kill in the dungeon will give the team a reward. Ye Chen smiled slightly. He has long been jealous of the first kill of the level 60 dungeon of the three major camps of light, darkness, and neutrality. As for why you have to wait for a few days? It is because Ye Chen is about to be promoted to colonel. To be promoted to colonel, you need 1 million merits. You know, the blood tree has been staying in the dark camp to harvest. How fast is the slaughter of the Golden Lord? Now Ye Chen's merits have reached more than 900,000. It will take less than 2 days to be promoted to colonel. Once you are promoted to colonel, the commander value will increase to 1000 points. In other words, including himself, Ye Chen can command a team of 1001 people. Wouldn't it be more advantageous to get the first kill of the dungeon at that time? Rich experience points, gold coins, skill points. These are all good things. Ye Chen would like to have more people to benefit. Now in the entire Chinese war zone, except for me who is level 67, there are very few players above level 60, no more than 100 people. Ye Chen smiled complacently. Now his level advantage is too great, and there is no need to worry that the first kill of the level 60 copy will be snatched away by outsiders. Ye Chen led the team to move in the forest and found a golden leveling point. The so-called golden leveling point is the place with the largest number of monsters in the wild area and the fastest refresh speed. I saw chimpanzees everywhere in this forest, and each of them beat their chests with both hands like drums, bang bang. A casual glance showed that there were more than 100 of them. Okay, this is it. Ye Chen stretched out his hand to signal the team to stop, and soon the sea of fire burned, causing the group of monsters to rush over frantically. These chimpanzees are national elite monsters with HP exceeding 150,000. Ye Chen can't kill them with one knife, and in fact there is no need to use ordinary attacks. Change clothes. Beyblade Warrior. The huge gyroscope spun out quickly, strangling a chimpanzee and accumulating combo points. Destruction Storm. Puff puff puff. Countless flaming darts were shot out, sweeping in all directions, and a series of muffled sounds of piercing the body sounded, and the chimpanzees fell in groups, turning into waves of experience. Hiss. So cool. The experience value of a chimpanzee is far less than that of a national lord, let alone a sub-saint beast, but it wins in numbers. Ye Chen gets a group of them per second, and the experience value that comes like a tide makes everyone tremble with joy. Time passed, and a night passed. February 15th, 6 o'clock in the morning. The sky gradually darkened, and in less than half a minute, it was completely dark. In the dark night, the chimpanzee's eyes emitted a strange red light, and suddenly became violent. "Hey, what's going on? Why is it dark? Night falls, monsters attack the city." "Yes, it's the monsters attacking the city." Yachen smiled slightly and said, "It's morning, everyone, go offline to have breakfast and take a rest. When you go online again, go to defend the city." Monsters attacking the city, to put it bluntly, is to give honor points, and the role of honor points is to wash away sin points. It is a must for red name players. At this stage, the national map is open, and the battle of factions has already started. Generally, there are very few civil wars in the first-line forces. For example, Yechen, he almost never gets a red name when he kills the Merchant Alliance and the King. But it's better to be prepared for honor points. Anyway, they won't disappear if you save them. There will always be a time to use them in the future. If the demon army causes trouble, Yechen doesn't mind destroying them. Go offline, have breakfast, and come back to defend the city." Amid the shouting, white light flashed, and Yechen also went offline. Deep Sea City, high-end apartment. Since being kicked out of Shen Kaijan's house by the king of Shang, Yechen, Tank, and others moved here. Although the environment is not as good as the Seaview Villa, it is a good choice to experience the hustle and bustle and red lights and green wine in the bustling city after being used to the quietness. There are 2 sets on the same floor, one for men and one for women. The rent is less than 30,000 yuan a month, and the environment is also good. Of course, Yechen paid the rent by himself. He didn't care about this little money. It was rare for a group of friends to get together. It was fate. In the future, they might be separated one day. Yechen also cherished the fate between him and Tank and others. "I hired a chef and a nanny, so I don't need to worry too much." It was only 6 o'clock in the morning, and there was no one in the room, even the chef and the nanny hadn't come to work yet. After washing up, Yechen went out by himself, took the elevator downstairs very skillfully, and went to the nearby park while warming up. Yechen has become accustomed to morning exercises every morning and has practiced it. In February, although spring has begun, the chill in the air has not dissipated. Some early risers on the road are still wearing fleece jackets, but Yechen is just a simple black long gown, a light blue scarf for wiping sweat on his shoulders, and black sports pants on his lower body, and he doesn't feel cold at all. Yechen is very thin, the type who can eat a lot without gaining weight, but he also has well-proportioned muscles. In addition, he has a slender figure, and at first glance, he is the type of agility and power explosion. Yechen also has a good appearance. As he walked along, he attracted the admiring eyes of the ladies and junior high school girls passing by. Yechen walked by calmly. It was not that they were not good, but he had a better girlfriend. Around 7:45 in the morning, Yechen returned to the apartment with sweat all over his body and went straight into his room to take a shower. After finishing, he came to the living room. Everyone had already gotten up and gathered around the table to enjoy breakfast. Because there was only one chef hired, they all ate in the boys' dormitory. Yechen picked up a piece of salad and took a few bites. Tank rushed over in a hurry, snatched it away, and stuffed it directly into his mouth. While chewing hard, he shouted, "Still eating. Monsters are attacking the city, and the main city has refreshed the level 60 Holy Beast. QBQ 520.